politics, we be in the mix. With that rare candy paint job on the whip. I need food for the kids, money for the rent. Fuck a lockdown, baby, I can't do that shit. And I don't never vote, cause I'm fucking broke. And either way, I know the police ain't gon' leave me alone. On a plane, by to visit Glen Rock. Need crypto, told me I should bring the Glock with me. So I packed up my piece and I'm sliding. Cause we might get caught up in a riot. Middle finger Trump, middle finger Biden. Fuck a left, fuck a right, is you riding? Know you love to see it, dudes rocking. Ain't no politics, baby, we just talking. From the birds to the bricks, we be in the mix. With that rare candy paint job on the whip, who you with?
Before we get started today, I just wanted to let everyone know that the song at the end of this is by Caleb Petty. That's K-A-L-O-B, Petty, like Tom Petty. He's not related, but he's a damn good musician. It's a song called Southern Blood. You can hear it at the end. Go stream that on Spotify. Get it in the algorithms and stuff, and shout out to the guy Caleb right there. But we've got the good old boys back today, which is always a pleasure. Last time we talked to them was just a little bit post election, and kind of feels like a year has passed. It's been a few months. Which is the time manipulation is one thing I think everybody can say is kind of odd right now, is just the way time has gone by. I feel like I've gotten a lot older and there's just always something every day. But how are you guys doing? I know, being a politics podcast right now, I mean, you guys are my news network. Like your guys' news show, I legitimately listen to it because there's things I was like, wow, I didn't even know that was happening. Especially your guys' recent episode with Will Hild. There were a lot of things I was like, I had no idea that was happening. How are you guys doing through all of this? I mean, there's got to be something every day you guys feel the need to talk about.
Awesome. Yeah. I love Will, and if anyone's never checked him out, he is like, you hear so much about BlackRock and this and that, and he's the guy who actually knows what they're doing. I mean, he's right now he's probably outside. Oh God, what's the BlackRock guy's name?
Larry Fink.
Yeah, he's probably outside. Out parked outside the Fink's house. They're in the '85 Caprice Classic. There's a, 45 cigarette butts next to his window, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's an excellent point about the politics stuff. We had this. We had to establish that rule this year. It was like, if we talk about everything that's reported in the news about Trump, that's
all you do.
So like, something has to actually happen. The penis has to cross the plane to
yes,
to be considered copulation, basically, because otherwise, he says all kinds of crazy stuff. And yeah, you could chase everything down. I mean, that's kind of worked on the libs. I think he basically does that, to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always said I've had an alternate reality that I've always wanted to say, like, to really, if we're going to maximize AI, which I'm kind of not super into, but if it's here, it's here. I would just say there's a few people I know that would willingly sign up for this Soylent Green thing, where you stay alive. I'm not advocating for any genocide or anything, but you put on goggles and you just watch Trump get arrested all the time, and like everybody else just handles business. Like everybody else just goes and lives their life. Because I know people that just sit around, and we have two poster presidents right now. We have Vice President Vance and Donald Trump. So it's like, when there's two poster presidents, like, something is always happening, and especially if you hate them, like that is like all day you get like a feed of them. And I kind of think for some people they would rather live in that world. But you make a good point of what you guys are saying. Like, let's wait for something actually to happen. But that's kind of weird when it's like you have people panicking, right? I know that's kind of a big word on our sphere right now, where anytime something happens, people will be maximalist in terms of, oh, this is the one that screws everything up. This is the one. So how do you guys not panic, I guess?
Exposure. Just have long-term exposure to this stuff. Eventually, just kind of you. If I'm talking to somebody and they want to talk about whatever the new thing on Fox News is, it's like, I know I can't do it, because I've seen it too many times. You feel the ebb and flow of the garbage that gets presented to normal people. It reaches a point where it's like, yeah, well, I think the nothing ever happens meme guys have it right. Like your default assumption should always be nothing ever happens, and then you'll be pleasantly surprised.
It's kind of it's like a reverse black pill, or it's like, but it's also kind of like on a parallel universe of black pilling, because it's not like nothing ever happens is a bad thing. It's like, hey, nothing happened. That's kind of good.
Yeah. I mean, there's 300 million people here. Like, well, yeah, probably.
Source.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The official number is like 330 now at this point. There's probably there's 400 million people here.
God damn.
Things just change really, really, really slow. Everything is, the economy, economically, everything is, leveraged against each other. And in this way, there's insurance on absolutely everything. Certainly, the bottom will fall out of society one day, but it'll have to all go at once. So it'll be the kind of thing that you don't have to worry about it. But
things don't go slowly, by the way. What happened is technology has made people's expectations go crazy. Like if you're living, I don't know, 80 years ago, whatever, the hot off the presses, the morning newspaper, that's your IV drip for information. And it was like wireless radio could let you hear it not 24 hours a day, but a lot, and then television, and then 24-hour news network, and then social media. And some people are just hooked into I say some people, like we're all Twitter politics guys. We literally have these entertainment programs. We're talking about it. Everybody's hooked into this now. My mom's a nice boomer lady, and she's looking at Twitter and Facebook and Well, I don't think she looks at True Social, but yeah, she's into all that. Nobody can escape it. It has made us information speed demons. Everybody wants everything to happen now. I mean, that's not a novel concept. People have been complaining about that my entire life, but I think that it has legitimately, the social media has legitimately accelerated the process to the point where it might be becoming unhealthy for people mentally and physically, but I don't know that there's anything you can do about that.
I think involvement with one of the things that I think a lot of people don't really take into account is so I personally, I love politics. I love it. I do. And I think there's a lot of people who they don't, they're very interested in, the outcomes and stuff like that, which I totally get that. But, it's like, there's probably guys who, I don't know if I know you guys are sports guys. I think he's become more popular lately, but I knew him when he was a poker player. The guy Harabalus Bulgaris.
Yeah. Bill, he used to be on Bill Simmons a lot back in the day. Yeah.
He was nowhere near doing that when he was in my world, in the poker world. I mean, he made millions, many millions, cracking this NBA code. Long story short, they used to Vegas, they did not update the betting lines at halftime. So no one else found this out. So he would literally just wait till halftime, and that would give him enough edge to maximally bet. He made $1 zillion. But he would be betting on lots of WNBA games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
so he's highly invested in the outcome of this game, but he's not interested in watching the game. I think a lot of people are like that. I am interested in the game. I have volunteered for both the Republican and Democrat Party. I've worked I worked the voting at the precinct every single time I had my own precinct and stuff like that. I love politics. I think not everybody is. There's a lot of people, you always think of these Q people and stuff like that. I'm just biting my lip. Why don't you try out politics? You don't have you could go volunteer your local party or something and see if you like it, because you're burning a lot of calories doing stuff that's it's not really politics, but you could. That's one thing that's I think a lot of people don't have a hard time figuring out what is politics. So if the Supreme Court is in session and they're making statements, you probably do want to pay attention to that. if there's a bill that's in Congress, you don't have to worry about that shit because nothing gets passed anymore. Things get passed through budget reconciliation, stuff like that. You know, it is hard to tell because I don't know. It is.
Well, the last two presidents have. It's not even that. They're just unfurling a scroll and doing executive orders by fiat. Like that's the most basic the level of politics. The monarch has a proclamation gathered around.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but certainly when I was a little kid, it was pretty obvious that and I don't know if this is one of these things that was for all time. I certainly doubt it. I assume that lots of people were interested in politics in the late 60s or stuff like that. But when I was a little kid, it was pretty obvious that politics was a niche interest, like people being heavily interested in politics. People like my grandma, like she would decide who she's going to vote for the day before the election. There was no real party loyalty at all. Politics people you would watch C-SPAN, which is like, I watched it as a kid. And it's just, now it's gone mainstream, but it's like, yeah, I could see, like, you know, they had to change Star Wars to make it appeal to the broader audience rather than just nerds and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, I don't know if you can tune up, you know, what Congress does enough to appeal to a broad audience. I mean, you just have to run these fake stories and stuff. Most people, you wouldn't watch C-SPAN. Like I would. I don't think that makes me better or not. It's just it's a bizarre interest. I don't think it's super important to people's individual lives in the ways that they think it is.
You could tune up Congress. Just watch Idiocracy.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Well, and you know, you brought up sports earlier. It's kind of like somebody who shows up to watch the game on Sunday versus somebody who cares about the damn NFL draft. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like the nuts and bolts, like the actual stuff that anybody else would go, who cares? What time's the game start? Where are we watching it? You know, or something like that. Like but everybody right now feels, I mean, you feel like it's like that with everything, like Marvel comics. Like so many people, I just emerged from COVID with Marvel t-shirts randomly. And I was like, oh yeah, because you streamed everything. You streamed whatever the hell was on the streaming networks, Mandalorian or any of these things, like the Disney Plus, all of these franchises. And these were people I knew that I'm like, man, you never mentioned no comic books when we were growing up. Like what the hell? But now with politics, everybody has an ideology. And this is not new ground. I think this is like really post Trump, honestly. I think Trump was the one thing where everybody woke up and goes, wow, that guy's president? Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm going to start paying attention to politics now because that guy, the guy from the TV when I was a kid is the president. And it's not for the better, I don't think. Like, it's not for the better, but it's kind of inevitable. And the reason I bring this up, and unfortunately, Cy can't be here tonight. He's got some family stuff going on. It's all good stuff, guys. So if you guys are speculating, it's all good things, but nonetheless, he's busy. But him and I had been talking, and he has had some opposite. He's a principled man. This guy's a principled man. I mean, there isn't a container he doesn't read the back of before he eats it. He's just as principled as it gets. I think the game politics to him sucks, where you make concessions, you make deals, you do all of this. And the reason I say all that right now is when the bill came out, the big beautiful bill, he was like, there's a lot of horse shit in there, is what he said, and I'm like, yeah, no, there is. And then, with the Epstein stuff, he's like, well, why would they announce the Epstein thing? Like, why would they announce with the whole like Cash Patel, and why would Trump use that as any sort of campaign thing if he wasn't going to actually, pursue it in what we think, I know they said nothing happened and he killed himself, but you get the idea, it got squashed. And he, for somebody like that, I think with the way you guys talk about politics, I think you guys are rather objective, even though to him, it's probably not very fun that that's the truth. The game, the patronage element, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
I have to keep people close to me that are principled because I realize I don't really have principles.
we're going to get you right back to the episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know of a few other things we offer at Rare Candy Industries. We have a Substack with free and paid subscription options. Free subscribers get access to all written content. That includes Bob's Red Pill. That's the best thing going on the internet right now. Trust me. Paid subscribers get full access to our premium episode feed. And that's just every episode we don't necessarily want to share with the general public, if you know what I'm saying. Again, that's rarecandy.substack.com. We also have merch. That link's a little long for me to say right now, but go to the description, go to our merch store, and find a shirt that's right for you. We have Rare Candy shirts, Dr. Bronner soap label shirts, Rishi mushroom shirts, all types of stuff there. Check it out. There's got to be something for you. And lastly, check us out on social media. On Instagram, we're Rare Candy Pod, but on Twitter, we're at Rare Candy Pod 1. All right, enough of that. Let's get you back into the episode.
I don't.
Right.
I'm not an evil person or anything like that. And you know, a lot of like, you know, it'd take forever to explain. I actually have more. Maybe this is like a 5D thing or whatever. I have moral problems with the idea of a politician with principles. That's how messed up I am. But you know, I am kind of deep into this. So. Yeah, the world can't exist without people with principles. I mean, you know, I was reading in the past week about, you know, the Battle of Midway, and you know, Merrick, do you know about you know, the big counterattack of Carrier Hiryu with the Japanese?
Yeah, when it was after all the other carriers were sank, they went in pretty much on a suicide mission.
There's one fleet of Japanese ships was the dominant, like it was their queen in a game of chess. Like, this fleet was bullying the entire Pacific Ocean. It was 4 carriers, and you know, Midway goes down. It's the most famous battle of the war in naval, and they have 4 carriers. 3 of the carriers are destroyed. There's 1 carrier left. Any person, you have to take that carrier back to Japan. Like, you have to. It's the only carrier you have left.
Mm-hmm.
However, the 3 other ships, they got sunk. Those men died, and you know, the commanders. And by the way, in the U.S. carriers got the attack off and left. We got it good. And then we sent in our surface ships, which these ships at this point were considered expendable. Like, it's they're not valuable. And they sent them in, and the Japanese commander of the ship was like, "I'm gonna die on this battlefield." Charged him. He's in a carrier. A carrier is not useful in like a close range engagement with a battleship, but he charges him, and he went down with the ship, by the way. Like, you know, it caught on fire, and it takes hours and hours, sometimes days, for these ships to sink. He had plenty of time to leave. No, he went down and died on the ship, because that's what you did. You're an honorable person. That armies cannot function without both people that hopefully can say, no, you must come back. Radios didn't work very well. Guy may have even turned off his radio. People did stuff like that. But no, you need to come back. We have to have that carrier. But people don't. The guys you want fighting in the war, you want people like your co-host here, because
he'll die. He's gonna be the guy that dies for the podcast. I like this. This is great. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to torpedo a good analogy, but like, the counterattack was like the correct doctrine. You needed to, if you're him, you need to attack, because you're either going to get away or you're not going to get away, and sinking like 1 or 2 American carriers mattered more than the Hiryu surviving. So like, it was doctrinally correct. However, it was a good analogy.
Understand, there was a point where he knew that the carriers were gone, a surface fleet was incoming, and it was going to be them versus surface fleet.
Okay, but anyway, he did go down with the ship. Yeah, he certainly had a choice to leave it. But yeah, you're right. You do have to have. every society needs people with principles, and I don't think this is a either or proposition. What happens is in the early stages of a civilization or a nation or an empire, the principles and the politics are pretty closely aligned because they're a lot simpler. When you're doing nothing but expanding, it's very easy to adhere to your principles and still get the job done because there's so much. The pie is so big, it's easy to give everybody a piece. Once the empire starts shrinking, then you reach the two guys on the lifeboat, and they're deciding how to divvy up the food. They're going to decide who lives and dies, and that's a totally different situation. And the wrong kind of people prosper during decline because they're good at doing this. They don't have any compunction, which my colleague might say that he doesn't, but that's exaggeration. He has a very good eye for objectively analyzing politics, but he's a good person. The people who are in charge of our country are not good people. They're pure evil. They don't care about anything but themselves. As if you lived in the 21st century, you already understand. You don't even need someone to explain it to you anymore. After years of lockdowns, sexual abuse scandals, wars, they're horrible people.
Yeah, I mean that's where ultimately where I stand is like, look, you believe in God, though my principles are with God, you know what I'm saying? And I have them for the country too. Like there's certain things where most of it's farmer related, most of it's free speech related, where I'm like, any real infringement on any of those two, I'm usually Mel Gibson in The Patriot, you know, unretiring from making rocking chairs and getting out and getting active and stuff. But I you know, for him, when he, I guess what, you know, and to anybody who's listening who doesn't know what this is, there's no reason to log on the internet and find out. But there are a lot of people who, now that Trump has taken power again, if you are to criticize, even from somebody who wanted him to win, right? Somebody who wanted him to win. But if you are to say like, I don't like this, I don't like that. Not that I preferred Kamala Harris, because again, it's kind of a straw man when some people say that. I just don't like a lot of the hive mind of like you're like, oh, secret libtard. It's like, I mean, it's a take. And you guys talked about this recently on your show, kind of just like, it's okay to spaz out a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, you're not, at the end of the day, what would it take for anybody to go back to the Democrat Party? Like, you'd need a lobotomy. You'd need a factory reset. You would need some sci-fi thing to have that happen. I mean, they're mutilating children and doing all of these, you know, actively telling you that your kids don't belong to you and all of these horrible things. I mean, if you want to talk about lack of principles, I just know the whole like panic thing where it's like, hey, like if you're trusting the plan, just kind of kick back for a little bit and, you know, like let the plan unfold. Like, don't worry about what the people on the internet are saying, you know?
You asked the vital question. You asked the vital question, though. What would it take to get people to go back to the Democrats? And the answer to that is really simple: a better deal. They just have to. If the Democrats get their shit together and offer people who aren't illegal immigrants and professional class women something, and obviously minorities when it comes to stuff like civil rights law, if they ever did that, they could be right back on top, because that's what brings people to vote.
You're right.
So you know, that's the answer. So, but panicking doesn't prevent that or help that. So there's no point in doing that. I mean, it's fine to chimp out on politicians who serve you, because that's the complaint button.
Right.
Like,
that's the relationship.
But chimping out on each other, there's no point in doing it.
That's what I mean. Like I know this for a fact. I know a lot of the people who are saying that, like, they're in no way a threat to be going back to the Democrat Party, and then it just causes this division that's not necessary. I mean, I don't think it has electoral implications of what people are saying. I don't even think it affected midterms. I think it's just, I'm sorry, we're in a cesspool of social media with a bunch of avatars, and somebody says, I don't like this, and somebody says, hey, fuck you. You know, it's like, that's fine, but just this whole like, oh, and if we lose in 2022, this is on you for panicking in 7 months. Yeah, like that's a weird. Like I feel like that's almost not used to winning. People not used to winning. People that act like that. You know what I'm saying?
And so I mean I'm all the way there with you. So
Okay.
I mean I can make a strong defense for even, you know, for all the way. So, who's the blonde Republican commentator?
Narrow it down, buddy.
Very skinny,
Tommy Lahren.
No, she's tall. She's probably in her 50s now.
And Coulter.
And
the Queen.
The deadhead, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
And Coulter did nothing but bitch and complain about Trump for like, I don't know, the last 10 years. And every Trump supporter benefited from that massively. We all benefit from that massively because she was complaining about things that were echoing bases, a lot of people in his bases thoughts, and it would be a lot of those people would have been like, I guarantee you a lot of that stuff she said, there's people, boring people, a Jack Posobiec or guys like that who need to maintain like a who they probably have relationships with the White House and stuff. Oh, I mean, I can go a step further. There's people who work for Trump that under their breath, when people like that, or Tucker lately, when they're giving him the business, are thinking to themselves like, yeah, good. Because, well, there's a guy that wrote a book that he did his thought experiment. It's like, okay, what can I do as an individual person that doesn't run for politics to have the biggest impact as an individual, not as someone that's organizing a group or something like that. What can my biggest impact can be? It's like, okay, you can vote. It's like, well, what would have a much bigger impact than vote? And it was basically more or less like spreading his number one. He said to spread rumors online that a politician you want to lose is ill, that they're sick. And the idea was that this is true. You notice this happens to both candidates in every single presidential election. That's not a vote thing. That is a thing to try to freak out like the billionaires and stuff, because they're afraid if they donate money to them, that money becomes expired IOUs basically. But the other one was to basically write angry letters to politicians saying, I'm never going to vote for you again, you son of a bitch. Because in everything I've ever read, all the patronage stuff, like it's all based on the idea that a politician's goal is to survive. And they're thinking that all the time. They've got all kinds of people yelling at them all the time, and they can never know exactly how many people are angry. And that does speak to them in a way that, well, how would you have a reasonable conversation with Trump, the White House itself, about complaints? You can't really. You can go online and you can say, I'm never going to vote for you again, you son of a bitch, and stuff like this. And unfortunately, that is the way for some people that would probably be upsetting to you, but it's certainly not wrong to complain. By the way, regardless of all the political crap, I mean, it is very like stupid, and they were this Kash Patel and this Pam Bondi and one of these other characters. They were teasing this stuff even after he had won. Like the snake in me would be fine and be like, hey, we need a couple more votes or things are looking shaky. Just promise them this. I can. That's not that's not highly honorable thing, but
I don't think it did though. I honestly don't even. I think that was such an unforced error, because I just don't think that was a deciding factor for a lot of people.
They kept doing it even after the election.
Yeah, exactly. That's why that's the part I struggle with, where I'm like, it ain't about, and we're gonna talk about a guy later. We're gonna put him through our ringer, like a little bit later. It's a part of this, but you think about it, you're just like, to me. Like, it's like the class pizza party thing, right? Like when you're a kid, it's like you can't fathom having a pizza party unless your teacher mentions that there's a possibility of having a pizza party. Yeah, I hate using the pizza analogy for this, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's just like your teacher goes, well, if we get, if you guys get your head out of your ass, you'll get, we'll do this. And then, teacher pretty much has to do it at that point if the needs are met. You know what I mean? I don't think most people were voting for Trump because of mass immigration, a lot of these other things. The exit polls, they mirror what I've heard from people too. Most people I know that are deep into the Epstein shit, I mean, deep into it, don't vote. Like, they just don't, because when you get down to that, it's kind of a weird bipartisan thing that black pills you a little bit. And I'm not hating on anyone to do it. 2018, I was right there. Like, you just, I don't know. Like, if that part feels weird to me, like, is this whole element of it? But I think you were making a larger point out of that, but I just wanted to say something.
It's a great point. I mean, I always used to bring up one of my favorite political podcasts ever was Dan Carlin's now closed one, not Hardcore History, but
Common Sense.
And you know, he laid out this his political program in there, and his program was this. He said that there's no real point to follow any kind of politics other than like the only politics that would matter at all would be some kind of legal crackdown on the United States intelligence community.
Yeah,
that basically they were so powerful that it would be like, you know, it would be like voting for the president's like voting for the mayor of Moscow. And that's all the power you have while living under, you know, Stalinist, the Soviet Union. Is like, there's not really anything that matters. And and because these people sort of run everything.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was, I really, that is, you know, that's not a terrible way to go. I mean,
No.
I don't agree with it, but you could do a hell of a lot worse.
Carlin was really, I mean, really, we have a podcast because we liked Dan Carlin. We got the idea from him. We tried to do it a couple times and we never really got it down. But it's really sad that the way like he became famous and then he got TDS. Like, I mean, he still puts out Common Sense. He put one out like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, but they're just. Yeah, but you don't want to listen to him because
it doesn't have a lot of common sense, does it?
But exactly, the thing is, you can never go wrong saying like for your one thing to be, I hate the intelligence services, because inevitably in an empire, the secret police either become an important faction, which that's obviously already happened, or worse yet, they just take over the country. And you know, there are people who have conspiracy theories about that I have no problem accepting. It's very possible. I mean, we had the director of the CIA was the president from what 89 to 93 is
George Bush, right?
Yeah. So you know, I could see that argument, but the problem is this creates in people an idea that like the CIA intelligence services are all powerful Supermen, and right. I think that's a big mistake, because I think that we've seen a lot of things in the last couple of years that point to them actually not being very good at their job, which that could be a white pill or a black pill, depending on
what event. What are you talking about, like specifically events?
Just their overall behavior. The Epstein case would be a perfect one. Okay. If this was a cover-up conspiracy, it was performed extremely badly. Like you had to kill this guy in a federal facility with the entire world watching. Yeah. That's not a super all-powerful CIA. That's like the mafia. That's not exactly high impact and low visibility. It's
you gotta hit him with a taxi like Tesla, man. You gotta fucking nail him with a taxi after.
Yeah, where was the heart attack gun for this stuff?
Yeah, exactly. You gotta hit him with the taxi, heart attack gun. I mean, it's that playbook. I feel like it's West Coast offense at this point. I feel like it still works.
But the problem is you can't say it's a white. All these guys are idiots, because if they're running the country and they're idiots, that's a whole new passel of problems.
Right. No, I agree. I think ultimately with me, as I separate the two, I am conspiratorial like that. Like I am long term. Like I just knew there were a few things. There were a few issues that I was like, no, that's a partisan issue. And it's like obviously a partisan issue. A good and that's why I was like, at the end of the day, like I might have my criticisms, but it's like I am in no danger of ever. I mean, case in point, today I sit down and listen to my governor Yes, I have to say he's my governor. I'm not doing the not my president thing. He is my governor of my state of California. Gavin Newsom sat down with a former CIA guy named Sean Ryan. I had never seen anything Sean Ryan had ever done before. I don't know what to think of him. I do think he needs to hire a Jamie type like Rogan has, because Gavin Newsom was just saying wrong things constantly that could have easily been verified to his own face, but neither here nor there. You know, Newsom is this guy right now that is trying to capitalize on what looks like chaos right now from Trump. Like I don't know. I don't view it as super chaotic, other than maybe a few minor things. But I think to any Democrat right now, or what Newsom's trying to represent. Now, Newsom is a legitimate radical left person. Like his policies are like what radical left people think. Like a lot of times he's made no mistake. He's like, that's what I studied. That's what I wanted to be when I grew up, as like a radical left kind of politician. His favorite politician of all time is RFK Sr. He's just one of those people who wants to do that. But he understands that the Democrat Party has a testosterone problem. Now, I believe he does too, but he can cosplay a little bit. He can do the kind of sitting in the chair inquisitively, enlightened conversation with somebody I don't agree with. I talked to Merrick about this, but Bog, did you see anything from that interview at all?
No, I haven't.
Well, that's a real funny way how they and I should have downloaded the clip, but they started the podcast off. Sean Ryan, I don't know if this is a thing he does with all his guests, but he got them he got Gavin Newsom a gift. He got him a Sig Sauer pistol and just handed it to him. And Newsom goes, "I love these," and he's like really nervous because it's like obviously you don't, but or at least politically you don't. He says he wins all these awards for skeet shooting and stuff. I love guns, but I do common sense gun stuff. I'm a common sense guy, you know, and he does all of these. It's weird. He's adopted this new kind of like Biden. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He's adopted this now, and he did not used to talk like that. They are gearing him for the run. And now I think this was supposed to happen many years ago, the run for president. I think in 2020 it was supposed to happen, but he really is not a very good politician. And I would like to know, Bog, with your objective, non-principled view, and I don't say that as a pejorative, do you think Gavin Newsom is a good politician?
I wonder if you gave him a 320, because that'd be pretty funny.
I can look that up. I don't know anything about guns, but Bog, I want to hear your answer, and I'll let you guys know what he gave him.
Yeah. So first off, so every Sean Ryan's podcast with like all the military guys, it's always like really good. Anything with politics, he is a massive bullshitter. This guy,
he's not very good.
The guy bullshits all the time. He always says like, "I'm in my next."
Oh, sorry, it was a 6 hour P365. Just let you guys know.
The 320, it's been the army bought like 5 billion of them, and they've been proven they'll blow up and kill you.
Yes, that would have actually been funny.
Based, yeah, no, like Looney Tunes, yeah.
Acme, yeah. So well, first off, I'd say the guy who has Newsom's number the best is Adam Carolla. He is
the best.
He's the opposite of him. Everyone should go look up the interview that I can't believe that he agreed to go on Carolla's show. When Carolla was I think he was just on radio at that time. Carolla just destroyed him. You know, Carolla's whole thing, and that's what I'm going with, is that he doesn't have thoughts. He doesn't have thoughts. Now, if I lived there, I feel like I could give a better interpretation. Yeah. But I've always considered, like, I've always very much, because there is a thing. I always bring up someone like Boogie 2988. You know this guy?
No.
So, there's this thing that's like it's not a bad idea to look at someone and estimate their charisma based on how they look. I'm
looking at them. Yeah, no, okay. Good thing you told me that.
It's like, it's a pretty decent guide, but it's certainly not foolproof. I think Republicans, we learned this with the Mormon guy. Romney looks like $1 million in terms of like a presidential
looks
guy,
like a retired athlete, like kind of guy, like like Steve Garvey type looking guy. Yeah.
If you're making like a Jerry Bruckheimer film, you want like him to be the president of that movie. Or you always think of there's a guy Boogie 2988. People listen to this, they'll probably know one of these. This guy is just a sack of shit, man. He's like, and that's his thing. I mean, he's ugly, he's fat, he's a liar. He's just not a good person in any way possible. However, like, and I think it's like unmistakable. Like, if this guy flips on a webcam, millions of people want to watch him. There's a level of charisma that he has that there's plenty of I can show people. There's plenty of very, very handsome people that can't get more than 100 views on their YouTube videos, and this is magnified in politics. In politics, I'm telling you, being good looking helps. It certainly helps with the ladies and stuff like that. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful because people like you just look at him, you think, okay, I'm sure that guy's super charismatic. He might not be. However, I would not want to underestimate him. And I do think the libs could probably they could do worse in terms of like having like a just like an avatar for the left in terms of like what he comes from. If people aren't big into Epstein, I'm sure they've listened. They're probably into Daryl Cooper.
Yeah.
Daryl Cooper's done a lot of stuff on the sort of Bay Area radical left scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something, Jim Jones and Angela Davis and by the way, Willie Brown and all this kind of stuff like that. These people became, they were in a lot of ways, if not just like
they took over the country. Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And they are like the most influential people, like if not like exactly in terms of whatever that some guy donates a lot, but these are the sort of the rock stars that people people that went to college, they got PhDs in political science stuff, and they're managing campaigns and stuff. They were the people they looked up to as the rock stars and stuff. And he was there, man. I don't know, like I'm like he was very young. He volunteered for Willie Brown and stuff like that, but like all that stuff was there. And so in that way, I almost feel like that is what you guys are. The Democrat Party can be a lot of things. I mean, it's a huge country and it's not just one thing or the other, but like, as far as the big power bases and stuff, the Lib Inc. or whatever, I mean, they could do worse in terms of, and I'm not saying that as a positive thing. I think what went on there in the 60s in the Bay Area was evil, but that's what I don't know.
The issue, a little inside baseball, I guess, but the issue here is if he wants to get the nomination for the Democrats to be president, he has to cut a deal with Clyburn or I mean, if Clyburn's an old man, it's possible that by the time that we get into the primary that he won't be involved in politics anymore. He has to get the Black Caucus to support him because whoever wins South Carolina is probably going to win the nomination, and that's his problem. He's very weak there. However, he's a slimy guy. He might make some promises and get the thumbs up. And as Glenn pointed out when he and I were talking about it earlier, the cupboard's pretty bare for them right now. I don't see any shining stars at the moment. Right. So they could do worse than this guy, but he's no Obama.
No, I mean, like I said, if he was, he would have done a couple years as the governor, and I think they would have ran him right away in 2020, if that was the case. Now, some background. Now, Newsom gave a very interesting life story to Sean Ryan on this podcast. It was so he talks about coming from nothing. That's what he said. I came from nothing. Single mom, San Francisco. So I was like, I don't think that's right. Like, whatever. So apparently his dad was a legal advisor to the Italian division of Getty Oil, and he was a tax attorney for the Getty family. So, all right then and there, you come from nothing. Now, his dad went schizo, and this is true. After doing LSD experiments at Stanford University, he just had a straight up nervous breakdown and moved to Lake Tahoe and left his entire family. this guy becomes a judge after that, by the way, an American judge. That's just what he just becomes a judge after that. So there's a lot of weird blanks that come in there. There's a lot of Operation Paperclip, a lot of stuff happening that he obviously didn't bring in, but he's like, yeah, and I'm learning all these new things about my dad. He was doing LSD at Stanford under these like kind of, and even Sean Ryan's like, is that MK Ultra? And he's like, yeah, I don't know, maybe that's it could be, and whatever. Newsom then I think somehow gets in, and I don't know how, but he gets in with the Pelosi family by some sort of marriage kind of thing. He basically, that's how he did play the game right in that way. Now, like, his dad and him, he says they didn't have any kind of relationship, but I guarantee you any interview you walk into, you say, I'm William Alfred Newsom III's son, as your leading thing. I would imagine that's what you do when you're in there. The problem is like, man, you're like you said, he has everything that you would need to be the next Obama. Obviously not the race thing, but for the most part, I don't know. You think he also, like he said, he's like, I'm dyslexic, I can't read, basically, like off paper. So he then spins that to say, well, I'm going to say what's on my mind all the time. I can't read a teleprompter. So he's trying to be like funny. He's cussing during the interviews. He's doing all of these things to try to appeal to like the steak eating American who might be flustered with what's happening right now. I don't think it's going to work. And I think a lot of more people are outside of California are more scared of him than the people who live here who don't like him. And I'll be honest with you, I've been to a lot of people's houses in California. I've been to the Omni-Libtard's house in California. I'm not going to name their name, but they are the Omni-Libtard. They are the all-seeing one, the one that just has everything you could think of, RBG coasters, everything. Not one picture of Gavin Newsom in the house. He's just not that popular. The specter of the right-wing takeover for Gavin Newsom is the selling point to Gavin Newsom, which means they don't like you that much. And I think Larry Elder was trying to take his spot for a while, got his ass kicked. I mean, it wasn't even close, but people weren't excited about Gavin Newsom. He's just this known commodity because he basically invented gay marriage in America. I mean, he did. Like that was what made him a star, was gay marriage. That was his biggest thing at the city level. And again, in the I like the city a lot, but it is objectively the gayest city on earth. San Francisco, he got that done, and then that became Proposition 8 in California, and then we are where we are now. However you feel about that, however you feel about that. That's like the only thing he's really done that people actually like, because he floated out by 2035, no gas cars. We don't want that. That's not going to happen. But he floats out these ideas that are deeply unpopular, even within his own coalition, I think. It's odd. Like he actually has a lot of radical left ideas, but leftists think he's just this capitalist because he was a restaurateur and some wine guy who got in with, who had rich, had connections through it. That they don't, which I hate to break it, that's how a lot of big time leftists get power. Fidel Castro's family owned sugarcane fields and everything. I mean, it's actually kind of Lindy when you think about it, but he is not. I don't think he's that big of a threat. I do think he's the nomination. And right now, I think he tried to win a standoff with Trump on this immigration thing without realizing that, like, mass immigration being the biggest issue was like 81% at the exit polls. Whether you agree with that or not, it's got to be at least over 50. And I don't know. That's just what I say. Little context to it all.
I think what's missed, so the Democrat Party right now, they don't really, in between factions, and I'll just put there's obvious. We can just go with the two factions that really matter. That's like people under 40 and people over 40. And the people under 40 are, in terms of likely voters, are probably a lot less. But these people have a lot of. I don't know. For presidential election, they're very important. And these people fill out campaigns and stuff. And well, with the Republican Party, I was listening to Distributus Dave. He was talking about this. Like we talk, or with right wing, I call James Lindsay slurs on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
There's dialogue. Like if you go to the left, they don't really. And by the way, there's debates and stuff. The guys like us will debate these, guys, the establishment guys all the time. the Democrats, I don't know why they don't do this right now. And the boomer left, just they have this completely different conception of politics, and that's fine. That's not like out of like like. However, they're not able. They're just them, and the younger people are living in completely different worlds right now. And like, you know, if you're the young left people, you're really into Palestine, and you want some kind of like energy. And what's so weird about this is that Gavin is too, like, Gavin has this. He was there, man. I guarantee you that when he was a little kid, I mean, when he was 18, 19, working for Willie Brown and stuff like that, I bet you that he knew guys in the Weather Underground and Angela Davis and like Jones, like the kids, they don't understand. No, this guy is your guy. However, he's done too much to like people we know. No one thinks of him that way. He LARPed so much that I don't know, like no one could even buy that from now. Like you people, the kids, they don't know. He would have thrown 10 times more Molotov cocktails than you at the Palestine protest. Like, he really does get you. He is just like you. He has that energy. But he has just take it out of himself aesthetically. I think on paper, this is the guy who could, you know, broker this sort of like a philosophical or at least aesthetic combination for the young Democrats and the older Democrats. I'm not talking about voting so much here as like people that are highly invested in politics. You know, people who tweet too much, the wine ants and the radical left protesters and stuff. He is, like, on paper, he is absolutely the guy to bridge that. But I don't know why that's missing. Because he certainly could.
Yeah, he has. He's completely vapid. I mean, it's one of these things like he tries to find this, like, it's one of those like things where it's like, I'm gonna say something everybody likes and then nobody likes you, you know. And I can't say nobody likes you. The guy won. I mean, you know, he got a pretty powerful position in government, and I think it's because he buttered his bread on both sides. I mean, really, he really did. He just had to. He was able to get in with the Pelosi's. He was, like you said, probably knew people in the Weather Underground, these big kind of like radical groups and stuff. But at the end of the day, he governs like a normie Democrat, but has that California, like that California, we're looking towards not this year, but 50 years from now in our state, you know, and you know, at the end of the day, he does owe the LGBTQ community. He like owes them a lot of patronage, right? Like, he owes them a lot, which that's kind of the issue with a lot of people when you think about it. Like, a lot of the people who ran away from that side, that's a big issue, is the basically, you know, forcing that stuff on everybody at all times, despite claiming to be such a small percentage that you should not worry about. He owes them a lot. So even if he does want to regress to this kind of like, look, this fake bully that's in the White House, this is what he was doing on China. This fake bully who calls me Newsom, I've been hearing that since I was in seventh grade. Everyone calls me Newsom. It doesn't mean anything. You know, this is which is like beta. Everybody's been calling you that since seventh grade. But he's like, I'm tough. Basically, like PC Principal from South Park is what he's trying to be right now. Like, just the like tough guy, but I fight for the little guy because I'll fight for him. And I think that is just so played out. I don't think that works. I don't think anybody, like I said, I live here and I don't hear anybody say anything about Gavin Newsom ever unless they hate him. Well,
that line worked the first time around because they were able to cut Trump completely. And I'm not absolving him and his cabinet first time around. They screwed up. They acted weak. And so that line played well. It doesn't play well now because he's using lawfare effectively. He's getting his way. He had the military in California, and all Newsom could do was complain about it. I think the key thing not to miss with him is that because of his age, you know, I'm sure he did meet political people who were involved in like the 60s radicalism. But the thing is, when he met them, they were like the University of Chicago, right? He this guy's like, he's a baby when the Weather Underground is getting arrested. So it's kind of for their perspective, the best of both worlds, but the worst of both worlds from everyone else's, where he's got that Atari Democrat typical bullshit like economic and political background, but also this progressively liberal social ideas. And I think the course for that has long since run. People are fatigued. Like even people who were happy to go along with the rainbow flag stuff until recently, the transsexual things, just that was a bridge too far for normies.
Oh yeah.
And he is, whether correctly or not correct, I mean, I think obviously he deserves this. He is connected to that. Now, then again, all this being said, if there's a lot of economic problems, if there's a bad campaign by J.D. Vance or whoever, and this guy could be president. It's that simple. If he can pitch something, if he can pitch people and convince them this slimy guy is going to deliver the goods, they'll go for it. They'll put up with the rainbow flag stuff, just like they put up with stuff from Trump. That obviously there's a lot of stuff that Trump does that most voters don't like, but they'll put up with it for the stuff that they can get from him that they can't get from anybody else. What can Newsom deliver that nobody else can?
He literally takes
Nothing.
things away from you. He literally is like, we're taking this away from you, and that's good, actually. It's like your gas-powered car is ruining the world. He cannot, I mean, you want to talk about a thing that made a lot of people go forward, the vaccine stuff, the COVID stuff. He basically says, he's like, look, we're putting together a report of everything we did wrong. And it's coming out in 6 months, Sean, so I can't say it right now, is basically what he says. And then he's like, but the vaccines work. That stuff's great. Like that stuff. And 6-month-old kids, yes, absolutely, all the time. They should work. And I'm like, hey, you're not winning anybody new. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's just, I don't see anybody right now, in the same way I said I didn't think appointing Kash Patel to the thought of that was going to get the Epstein voter guy who swore off of any sort of electoral politics. I don't think that that brought a sizable amount of people in. I don't think that what Newsom's rebranding thing, for one, people know who he is. Like, it's like, man, I've been seeing you for the last 10 years, like, really, for me, he's been the mayor of San Francisco since I've been in high school. So I've been seeing him for a long time, but it's just like, I thought he bombed on there, like on the Sean Ryan thing. And I think most Democrats are going to see that and go, what the hell are you doing talking to this lunatic, Sean Ryan? Like, I just, to me, most of the time, like, they're so tribal right now. They're not trying to do any sort of populist outreach. They still think a winning system is everybody's racist except us, everybody's evil except us, everybody's subhuman except us. So why don't you stop being subhuman and vote for us? That's like essentially what their platform is, but they might just put a different person in there, to say that. So, I mean, they told you were going to die in 2021 if you weren't. They're like, hey, you're going to die this winter. That's our political platform. Does
anybody still support the vaccine? I mean, I know obviously super libs and there are insane people who are still wearing the masks and stuff, that like they're still on board with this. But like I'll occasionally see a person wearing a mask in public, and it's like seeing somebody riding one of those penny farthing bicycles. It's like, wow, you're still on that, huh?
Members only jacket, yeah.
Yeah.
You can always go into that one part, the long COVID part of Twitter, and
oh yeah, they go hard.
Yeah,
yeah, they're out there. I do think that politically, that the key point that I think, Merrick, you brought up in the thing you said before, the biggest gap he's got right now, like that he needs to most likely worry about, is black people in terms of things that he needs to change. Not that he hates black people or whatever, but like, patronage wise, currently, black people are there's certainly, they have a lot less power in California politics than they do in nationwide Democrat primary politics. And people don't know, like the percentage of black people in California cities has been like cratering for the past like 10 years or whatever. And so they're just not that they don't have that clout. And it's possible. Clyburn's a great example. Clyburn's base is like the they got the South Carolina primary and everything. He leads the Black Caucus. Clyburn's base is you wouldn't say conservative, but they're these boomer Black people who they're not super pro LGBT. And they're just kind of very much they're super Democrats. But they're very much like the opposite of a California what wins in California Democrat politics. So and he can make shifts, but he needs to get he needs to start shucking and jiving. He's got to start race hustling more, which he does not need to in California politics. But
did you see when he tried to play basketball?
No.
It's a really good clip, man. I implore every listener to look it up. There were Chinese kids visiting San Francisco. It was kind of the whole thing. Remember when I think Trump got mad at him for cleaning up the city finally for China to come through, I guess. That was what they to clean up San Francisco or all of the people were making fun of that. But there was this Chinese kid and he tried to do one of those playful cross up. The kid took a charge. He flopped on top of the kid. The kid fell over. This is like a 9-year-old kid. And I thought the kid was in legal defensive position outside the restricted area. Personally, I would have called the offensive foul on Newsom. I'm sure the Secaucus, New York people would agree with me there. But it was funny. It's just like he's kind of a joke, and again, Joe Biden through fortification won. He was brain dead, so you can't count anybody out. But it was through election fortification, and hopefully that's over. But to be honest, I don't know. I don't know if that's over. So, yeah.
Kamala is she the first? She's definitely the first recent California Democrat to run for president. Yeah. There's a reason that hasn't happened in the past, and Bog Beef outlined it. The structural, I guess the political structure of the Democrat Party, the way the primaries work, the American Black Democrat voters are the most important in the primary, as Bernard Sanders found out, and actually Bernard Sanders found that out twice, and once against Biden and once against Clinton. But the thing is, because of demographic change, Bobby've already said Los Angeles has already gone from. Los Angeles had a large Black population when we were young, and now it's the majority Hispanic at this point.
They all left.
Yeah, we were looking at this the other day. Chicago is now 30% Hispanic, 30% Black, and actually, so Hispanics have edged them out a little bit. And this is a problem when you have a party has a lot of ethnic blocks within it, and these changes. This is one of the reasons why you saw movement towards Trump from people who hadn't previously voted for him. So that's the big issue for Newsom. However, I guess a double-edged sword. You go a couple election cycles, if the demographics continue on the way they are, they won't be Black Democrats won't be in charge of the party anymore. Actually, maybe that's already true. I just don't believe that because of South Carolina being first in the primaries. But because we love Jim Clyburn on the Good Old Boy Show. Yes, he's 84 years old. That man's not going to be around forever. Who have they got in the bullpen? So that's the way you could edge in. But Kamala was a bellwether about this. She was not an impressive politician by any means, but she checked off some boxes, and Clyburn basically got her post. Mm-hmm. Does anybody think it's going to change that much in 4 years? I don't. I think that you're going to need their seal of approval, and I have a hard time seeing Newsom getting that. But that's his problem, not ours.
Yeah, true.
Mom Donnie was another good example of Black people. Reason why Mom Donnie won. I mean, it's just one reason among many, but it's basically that Black people don't have the same clout they have in New York City Democrat politics as they used to. There's just way less of them.
Yeah, no, that's true.
From the 5 to the 6, we be in the mix with that red candy paint job on the
shall we move on to the meat of the discussion today? This is kind of a tradition whenever you guys come on the show. We take 4-ish subjects. I think we have 3 people and a head-to-head that I proposed today. We rate them alpha, beta. Of course, it's all completely objective. There's no subjectivity. We are running this through AI and just reading the results. Of course, it's not our personal opinions. There was no rules for this one with who we were going with. Now, I want to start with there's 2 guys that I believe you guys proposed that I do wish Cy was here for this one, but I will do my best. I'll do my best to channel him through a Cy medium like he normally would. But let's start with Dr. Atkins. I love this one. The father of the Atkins diet, for anybody who doesn't know. If you guys were around, if you guys are like millennials or Gen X or like older, that was one of the first diet crazes I ever witnessed was the Atkins diet.
Now, I intended that to be a head-to-head between the two people I listed, but I don't want to get your listeners in the uproar against you.
No. I think that works even better. That's great, actually. I think that's good. We have a couple head-to-heads. I love it. So yes, okay. So either way, you still have to kind of, we're still going to go about it the same way. But it is a head-to-head. I like this a lot. So Robert Atkins, the Atkins diet now it's kind of. I think it's been refined a little bit nowadays. Mm-hmm. I think like keto is kind of like a refining. I'm not a diet expert, despite being on a show where you would think I would be. I'm most certainly not feeling like one right now. But the Robert Atkins basically was like, more or less was like, hey, eat a shit ton of meat. Doesn't matter if it's sopping in grease. Doesn't matter anything. No carbs. Do not touch the carbs. And if you're, playing football or something, or you're a young guy, like even in your like 20s or something, and you're like working out every day, you're working, construction or something, you're like moving shit around all day, and you follow the Atkins diet, like you can get jacked. I mean, you can get big. You could just be bulking. You could just, if you're lifting weights and stuff, you can get big. Now, Dr. Atkins, I'm just looking at the way he died. I will say he died like the guy on the Segway. Remember the guy who invented the Segway, fell off the Segway and died? Like
I didn't know that.
Maybe that's urban legend, but I think it is true. Enter of Segway death. But yeah, he,
massive heart attack, right?
This is how Atkins died. But yeah, the owner of Segway, excuse me, not the inventor. He died in a Segway related accident. So that's pretty. I think it's kind of based, honestly, when you think about it. It's like, hey, I love this so much that it's what killed me. It's like almost Siegfried and Roy, it's like this kind of like, not that I think those guys are based or anything, but just it's when you get killed by the thing you invented, it's not a good idea, but it's alpha in my opinion. I think Atkins is kind of, it was a massive heart attack, probably diet related. I would say. I am not an expert in this, but when you die at 72, and it's a massive heart attack. Like I'm pretty sure the Atkins diet, just stuff in your face full. And he looks like a guy. He looks like a guy who could just throw him down at the Heart Attack Grill in Arizona or something. He looks like that type of guy. His coronary arteries were 30 to 40% blocked. His cardiology. Yeah. And so this was in 2001. He died in 2003. I bet you we got to 50. And because why stop there? He's like, guys, I can't stop. The books must sell. My diet, like you do figure he had a big boat or something, like a bit, like you think he was partying super hard? I bet he did.
It's so that's so base. I always think of so 2 things. So number 1, when, and we may have talked about this last time, but when Jordan Peterson went on the animal diet, he didn't just go Atkins. All he literally ate was bowls of beef with an oil soup, basically. That's it. Nothing. And like, on Atkins, well, even a little, you can have a thing of lettuce or a little bit like, no, just beef. And when he did it, you could tell that he was a disaster, and he looked like $1 million.
Yeah.
He looked amazing. And because I always relate that, because when I was in high school, I was playing every sport,
Right.
and I was trying to just get to that next level. And I went on the Atkins diet, and it was brutal, man. Like it's way harder than people realize. Like you can't even, you think, oh, I can eat all meat or whatever. It's like, no, you can't even really use barbecue sauce. Like you have to use like this bullshit barbecue sauce and stuff. It's so brutal. Like you have to look for like to stay in ketosis 24/7. But when I did it, I looked amazing. I had all this energy, but it was like this. I was like an animal. I was like aggravated and angry and stank, and I'm shitting my brains out all day. Like, every 15 minutes I'm going and doing things in the bathroom that were just, I was like, oh my God, that was awful. It would, it must, like, I felt like this is what like Keith Richards goes through, like in the morning, basically. And, it just turns you into like a walk. You just feel like a walking hard on looking for a hole. Like you just become pure energy. It's not really a good thing.
I was gonna say, I don't think you're necessarily, I think a lot of our listeners you might be selling this to them.
If you're just trying to, drop a dress size, or, get into those 28 slacks for the summer or whatever. Yeah, it's not what you want to do. It's I don't know.
All right, you've heard the spin now from this guy. Let me just say, when he died, he was like 72. That was the life expectancy for him was like 74, 75. So he clocked out a couple years early. Having a red meat heavy diet, you're going to block some arteries. It's good. You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
It's quite an omelet you're making too.
You're sweating all day, and like people don't realize, like a gigantic porterhouse steak has like 250 calories max.
Yeah,
it's like
right.
It's like half. It's like one bite of a Snickers bar. So you're just shoveling your face with these giant animal style quadruple baconzilla burgers and stuff, and you're never full because it's no calories at all. Like if you really stick to it and eat no carbs. Carbs are what's easy to consume. But if you actually try to hit, like, you certainly won't gain a pound if you stick to it. There wouldn't be enough time, and you wouldn't have enough energy to shovel that many calories, like 2,500 calories down your gullet.
So, because I'm an insane person, but about 10 years ago, I didn't go on the Atkins diet per se, because I didn't read the book or anything, but
you cut carbs.
Yeah, I went on a 2 pound a week calorie deficit, and to do that, you basically have to eat nothing but meat. And the calorie deficit made me feel not great. Even though I was lifting at the same time to try to not lose muscle mass, it didn't really work. It wasn't a good idea. However, eating nothing but meat was amazing. Every day I think about how great it would be to go back to eating nothing but meat. It's awesome. Now, I guess if you're a pickier eater, it might be a problem. I was throwing down at one point like blanched chicken breast, just straight up boiling a chicken breast and eating it. It's good times. I think that everybody should go out the way that doing the thing they love, and that's what Mr. Dr. Atkins, Professor MD, he went out on top. And here's another benefit of this: getting really old is terrible.
Yeah, no, I do agree, and I just real fast, like you said, going out. Especially, I think dying by your own creation in a sense, or at least like what made you rich. I do think it's alpha, and like I'm still fixated on this segue guy just for a second. But James William, and his nickname is Jimmy, like Jimi Hendrix, Jimi, Heselden. He was an English entrepreneur. He was a former coal miner. He became wealthy by manufacturing the Hesco Bastion barrier system. In 2009, he bought Segway Inc. In 2010, he died from injuries sustained from falling off a cliff while riding a Segway. It's like Thelma and Louise.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you think the company's like, fuck, the stock's gonna tank just because he died on one too. Like,
wow, yeah, he didn't even make it a year owning the company before he went off a cliff with the Segway. Yeah,
I mean, amazing. So at least Dr. Atkins got many years out of his.
Oh man, I want to change mine now.
Well, go ahead. We haven't read it yet, so
yeah.
Good buck wild.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please. Go ahead.
Okay, we got a surprise guest
Well,
later.
I mean, don't we have to do the second one of the head-to-head now? Isn't that how that works? Like we're deciding if Atkins is who's the most alpha,
the
right?
Second one, yeah. The second, I still would like to talk about your other one.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
for
gotcha.
Sure.
All right.
I had a eureka moment.
Okay. So I am going to. So we had Ray Pete. This is Dr. Atkins versus Dr. Ray Pete. Now Ray Pete. Now I tell you, the one time I ever fucking counter signaled that guy on this show, a lot of times I'll post our episodes. I don't know if you guys are like this too. I'll post our episodes right before bed. You know, I'll put them up. I won't promote them or anything. I wake up in the morning and it's people like this fucking asshole talking about Ray Pete, and I was like, whoa, like I was like, it's wild. I will say it is kind of funny that Ray Pete is a communist. I
wasn't aware of that.
Oh, did Fredo not tell you? No, I'm just kidding. This is off the Reddit. I know it's always been a thing. So this is from r/Ray Pete. So do with this what you will. I'm sure people think that it's not true. He's a Roman soldier. I have no idea. But this is the post on Reddit is the Ray Pete Russian/communist conspiracy. This guy says, I think Ray's ideas about communist Russia are some of the hardest to grapple with. He seems to think Stalin was generally good, and those who came after undermined him. I think he agrees with Marx's ideas that society should provide for people's needs to develop optimally as a biological organism, blah, 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 right? So all that stuff. Again, it's about the food, so it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Ray Pete, you don't go to raypete.com to learn about communism. I would think. I would guess you don't. Maybe you do. I don't know. He is like, I still don't understand what his diet is, because anytime I critique it, I got the diet wrong, apparently. So apparently you can eat a shit ton of ice cream if there's no gum in it or anything. Like the gums, I think, are the bad, which I agree, those are bad. I don't know if eating like massive amounts of Haagen-Dazs over time is really good for you. Obviously a bunch of meat. They don't really like cruciferous vegetables like the broccolis, the stuff like this. And I do think it is an elevated gamer diet, which is that alpha. I tend to say no, but you guys might say yes.
Did you see the big Pete news from like 2 hours ago?
No.
Trump called the CEO of Coca-Cola and demanded all Coke now be sugar.
They said they're going to do it. Coke said they're going to put cane sugar in their Coca-Cola. They told Trump that
they're going to get out of the refined. I mean, they're getting out of corn syrup. They're getting out of that stuff, or just adding. I mean, I'm interested. I mean,
that's what Trump just said, that he talked to them and they promised they were going to put cane sugar in it. It's going to be great. That's all we know about it now. But I think that is Petey, correct?
Oh, it is the Pete thing. I mean, they are sugar max. Like I've known some people like to me, I don't know. I am like, I talk about it with Sai. I kind of laugh. Like if you were eating nothing but like gamer snacks, and I think we all know what, like, I'm talking pizza rolls, like sedentary diet or something, and you got into Ray Pete, which then got you into Mishima or something and working out and all that stuff. That's good. That's a good thing. I would expand on it, and I don't think green vegetables are the devil, right? And I know some people, from what I know about Ray Pete, is that he stayed away from a lot of leafy greens. I think they call it like oxalates in there that disturb your stomach or something. And to be fair, some uncooked greens do not agree with me when they're uncooked sometimes. Like for broccoli, I raw broccoli, it doesn't sit right with me. Cooked broccoli, I can eat a forest of it. But so I think there might be something to that, but he would get to the point, I guess, where he would boil, and I can already hear the backlash of how I got this wrong. Sorry, guys, but there's there's like he would boil a cup of spinach and then drink the spinach water and throw out the leaves. And I'm just like, I still think dietary neuroses after a while, like that stuff becomes this cottage industry. And yes, we should right now, the way food is constructed in America, if you give a shit, you have to read everything, right? You have to look at everything. It's a kind of arduous task. It kind of limits social interactions, you know, in terms of going out with your friends or something, because you're going to eat stuff coated in canola oil. But I still think the neuroses could give you a Atkins type death. Like, don't freak out about everything that you eat and stuff. And a lot of people I know that get into the Ray Pete thing, they get really neurotic about what they eat. And I will say, in terms of alpha, I got to say Atkins is more alpha. Pete probably has, I think, maybe a little bit better diet, but I don't know if that's what we're talking about here.
By the way, if anyone listens to Good Old Boys, then so I get in trouble all the time for glazing Stalin too much. So I mean, that's we share that in common. If people are worried, I mean,
so you think Stalin was good?
There's some problematic aspects.
Yeah.
I would, if I mean,
you
if
like
I gave
Stalin the painter, you like Hitler's art, you know. So did you mean? Yeah.
There are well, I would just say that Stalin didn't take over UNICEF.
Okay.
He took over the Soviet Union.
Okay. Yeah.
Stalin drained the swamp. If Stalin killed
starved the swamp, yeah.
If Stalin killed all the Trotskyists, our lives would be a lot easier. They sort of came to here and started running the United States.
Okay.
I would just Stalin was a thug. He was a thug, and he well, it's too much to get into, but
that's fine. I just you liked his you liked what he got. Like I don't know. I don't even want to say that, but
I'm pretty pro dictator in general.
I'm going to give you some bog beef lore. This is probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe no, probably before then. He was dating a young lady, and she, out of the blue, having never spoken with him about politics whatsoever, never heard any of his ideas, just said, you know, I think you would like Joseph Stalin. That happened, didn't it?
Yes.
You remember that to her?
Yes.
No. She said that to him. Just she cold read it. Like, you know, I think that Stalin would be the kind of guy that, you know, politically that you would like, and he had never talked to her about politics. So I
don't know where that happened. There was another point. So I'm at this job, and this job is using these Russians for cheap labor, and there's this Russian girl there. She's beautiful, and this has nothing to do with her being a beautiful woman. I've always wanted to ask a Russian this, because like there's this thing that's in the back of my mind, and I've got to ask a real Russian this. I've just got to. And so I walk up to her, and I was like, I tried to doll it up much as I could, but I was like, what do you think of Joseph Stalin? And her answer was like, it was so good. It was like, it just made my whole, like I said, dictators, it's a complicated story, but dictators are they're the big, if you're a dictator, I posted a thing the day that was like, these are the people that I follow. And it was someone's Wikipedia heading, and it said political career 1949 through 2010. That's what I'm into. Is if you sort of look at politics as a survival thing, if someone is able to survive on top of a state for like 50 60 years or whatever, I'm into that. But anyway, so I asked her that, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh God, what's she gonna say? You know, she's gonna say that he killed my grandfather, or something like that. Yeah. And she looked at me, serious as a heart attack, and she says, he did what had to be done.
Damn. Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. But he was a redneck and a thug, and he gets his job running this state that is like the most nerd, state of all time, like the most like this utopian nerd experiment of free love, and he bullies all these nerds as this redneck thug. I mean, he was robbing banks a year or two before, and walking into that status hierarchy, destroying everybody, killing all your competition, sewing up power in a massive nation state and holding on to it forever, bullying the United States. If you take him as look at him as an individual political actor, he's super effective. Like it's impossible to be more effective. And so that's the problem. Like, so that doesn't mean he's a good person. Like good people, they don't get into this line of work.
I didn't believe you when you said you didn't have principles. Now I do. I didn't believe. I was like, shut up. Yeah, you do. No, no, seriously. That's wow. Yeah, I didn't know we were going. When I thought Ray Pete and I saw it was Ray Pete versus Allen, we actually got the most accurate alpha beta rating on Stalin, apparently. So that's amazing. What was yours, Bog? I don't even have yours written down. What was your submission to this?
Oh, it's not important. I've got one that's much better.
Okay, well, either way, I don't think I know it. So yeah, what go ahead. The floor is yours.
Kevin Federline.
Oh, alpha, without question.
Alpha,
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? In an era where child support is being deployed on every man ever. I mean, Bog, you've probably worked some similar jobs to me. You've heard the child support blues. You know what I mean? Like just the you know, I'm telling you right now, and I hope that this didn't become a pending case, but there was one guy offering around, and I'm not going to say much about him, but the sentences I use for it will give you an accurate picture of what this guy was. He was walking around and he was asking random tough looking women. He said $10,000 to beat the shit out of my baby mama, $25,000 if you kill her. and he was just saying like anybody down. And I was like, I'm hearing you. I thought everybody teaches you not to say that around me. You know what I mean? Like probably like, you know, like I'm like Fred Willard in a rap video at this point. Like, don't say that around me. Like, you know, Bad Boys for Life get thrown in a garbage can. Like he probably should have stayed there, but we've heard all of this stuff. Kevin Federline, because didn't he start 5 Gum or something with the money?
My God.
It was let me see, Kevin Federline Gum. He I thought he was a big part of Stride Gum. So he became like I think an investor, if I have this right, an investor in 5 Gum in 2006. You have to think that's with the Britney money.
Oh, for sure.
And Stride Gum. Yeah. So alpha already.
To get some background, I totally agree. I don't remember how old, you know, one of my early 20s or something like that. I was like just laying at night dreaming of being in a situation like Kevin Federline. So with Federline, he's one of these guys, like on paper, that like if you look at him on paper, so dance choreographer, that's one of the gayest jobs in the world. It is. And now, of course, in reality, it's one of these jobs that are like, okay, let's get you, you know, hot and sweaty with a lot of young women and stuff. However, I mean, you know, in real life, a lot of gay guys have that job. Mm-hmm. You know, you're a dance choreographer. You are Mr. Mom. He's got, you know, he's the one that fought for the custody. And he's got the SUV. He's picking him up for karate lessons at 3 p.m. or whatever. In so many ways on paper, he's very, very beta, but of course it's not. Of course he's giga alpha. It's
20 grand per month in child support,
which is child's play, because I remember when Nas got divorced from, you know, the girl who made the Milkshake song, My Milkshake Brings All the Boy, that girl, Nas had a kid with her. I don't get the idea that Nas made this much money, but apparently the state of New York thought that he did. $50,000 a month. 50.
What? I think he's beat by who's the redheaded guy who used to play for the Clippers? Maybe he's still
Blake Griffin.
Wasn't he getting $600,000 a month?
That was a rumor. It wasn't true. He was paying more like 30 or 40, but I mean that's a lot of money. $40,000 a month.
You better stay on that all-star team, man.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm wrong. It's fake news about Kevin Federline. That was kind of a wives' tale. I'm sorry, but actually, I'll tell you right now, they're saying Kanye owes Kim $200 a month.
That's hilarious.
Which is crazy because she's fucking rich.
Yeah, that's
Pacino's got 100. He had to pay $30K a month, 110 up front, and then $15K a year in an education fund. Education fund is great for Al Pacino. Yeah, a month. Yeah, for educate. Where the fuck's this kid going to school? But yeah, Alex Rodriguez, 115,000 a month.
Ooh.
Charlie Sheen, 110,000 a month. Brendan Fraser, 75 a month. That's why you saw him come back into movies. Just man, like some of these are crazy. But yeah, Federline
Fraser
is
had
alpha.
Fraser had that thing that Dave Foley had, where he got hit for massive child support in a very brief period where he was making a lot of money, and then his career slowed down, and he basically became a slave to this child support system.
Yeah, that's
Foley is.
It's where your baby mom's got to start helping you get jobs. Like she's got to start calling the film like, hey, will you? This actor I love, Brendan Fraser. He was great in Bedazzled. Could you please hire him? Could you please hire him? And then then you're like, then you get some. You almost become his manager at that point.
Obviously, Alpha. He married a beautiful pop star at the height of her sanity and attractiveness, and then he got set for life. If that's not Alpha, nothing on the planet is.
Yeah, and now she's fucking playing with swords in her room.
Yeah, that was. Remember, there was all these people saying that this arrangement with her father didn't make any sense. It was like, it didn't make any sense when you didn't know what was going on. Yeah, some people need to be chained to the radiator, basically.
Exactly.
So I always think of when I'm in like I don't know, I'm like 19, 20. I get one of these restaurant jobs, these bullshit jobs you get when you're a kid or whatever. And everybody there is like 16 to 25 or whatever, and then they hire. And I'm in Florida, and Florida's got this thing, and Nevada is this for the West Coast, where I'll finish the story. So I'm working there, and then I wasn't one of the waiters or whatever, but they hired this black guy to be a waiter, and he was like 40. Black guys, they tend to look younger than they are or whatever. So it was more or less normal. They hired him, and he was the best waiter they had. Wow. People would come up to the manager. They say, "This guy is so friendly. He was the best one that they had." Kevin's doing very, very, very well.
Man, yeah.
I love look at the smile.
And a girl named Victoria Prince. That just she sounds rich. Like that's the name. I don't know if she's rich, but that's a rich name.
You can't fake that smile.
Well, she is now.
Well, or maybe he will be again. Maybe it's part 2. Maybe this is like Ocean's 12 or something.
This guy, he gets like employee of the month every month. I mean, he is like, it's just obvious. This guy is a rock star at this. People are so happy at this. And then, one day I'm there, I go to smoke break or something. I come back and he was gone. The Georgia police came and picked his ass up at work and hauled him off to jail. It was because he was behind on them payments.
Yeah, you will do time. It's crazy. We have I've seen it happen too, where you're just like, you go out to lunch and then they'll be like, hey guys, I know the 2 p.m. window we're just going to be a little short staffed. They took Jeff, Jeff had issue. His stomach hurts or something, like that. You're like, nah, he's arrested for child support. Yeah. Dirty game. But yeah, Kevin Federline, it's not even, that is unquestioned alpha. It always has been. What a guy. I mean, it's the only guy you hear about that like happening to, you know what I mean? Like for that case. And he was a backup. Yeah. Like you said, a backup dancer. I mean, that's they say I come from rags to riches, that song. Like it's just amazing. Amazing. So that you would have never thought you'd parlay a backup dancer job. First off, like you said, Merrick, like, oh, look at me. I hired the damn straight backup dancer and look what happens, So, I have an interesting one here, I have an interesting one here that I think we'll get to. I think I did this because you guys ever watch, they're kind of cheap and they're kind of hokey, but you ever watch like the History Channel, like the People Who Made America or whatever?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
I actually love all that stuff. And I'm not even the massive historian, but I think the dramatizations are like shockingly good. You're kind of like this is like, it's kind of weird. This seems like a good job if you're an actor, because it's always the same guy. It's like I saw a guy play Nikola Tesla, and then he played fucking Houdini in this other one. Like, it was crazy. He was just getting these jobs. And but I'm talking about two guys that, like, straight up, like, when you talk about building America, even one guy's not even American, but you have Nikola Tesla versus Thomas Edison. They might both be alpha. They might not. But which one's better to you guys?
I mean, Edison. If it's a head-to-head, it's Edison, and yeah, he's certainly alpha.
He did win technically. So is that your basis for that?
He's an incredible inventor himself. He destroyed the competition, including Tesla.
Well, JP Morgan destroyed the competition. Let's
okay. All right.
Yeah.
And look, the Tesla is one of these figures that, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an expert on electricity, but it seems like people kind of get a little too excited about him and push the mythos a little bit too far. Like,
okay.
Which is that's a silly thing to say, because this is a guy who invented a type of electricity.
He's pretty fucking sick, dude. I don't know.
Right. But like, there's all this, like, he actually was going to invent wireless power and all this stuff, and Thomas Edison stopped that. Like, no, that's not what's going to happen. He was a visionary, but he didn't have the same killer instinct that Big Tom did. That's I gotta go with Edison if it's a head to head. If we're saying I think they're both pretty alpha, but yeah, you got to give it to the big dog.
Bob, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'll be the final rule here. Go ahead.
So they're both alpha. I mean, so I think Edison is more of a brute. I mean, obviously he's massively IQ or whatever, but this is a relative game here. With Tesla, I think a big, and of course people take it too far, but you can only do that because he's got the
alternating current electricity.
Yeah, because he's got the juju. You can say, hey, he invented this thing that would it would make cars run on water or something like that. And you kind of got to think about it a second. You're gonna want to look that up before you say no, he didn't, because this guy was a mad genius. Did you see Trump's quote the other day about his whatever, his brother or his cousin or something like that?
No. Well, I know his great uncle was very involved with Tesla stuff.
He has this. He was at a dinner or whatever, and he says, whichever family member was, he says, yeah, my family member, he was a great scientist at Harvard.
John Trump, I think.
Yeah, MIT, and he goes, he was a genius. He said, he worked with Ted Kaczynski. It was a thin line. But he said that there's a thin line between being a genius and a madman. People are sitting there looking at him. He said this like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Okay.
But, I wanted to say Tesla. I think that one of the things that puts Tesla over the top is his ability to strike a pose.
It's cool pictures.
He Epstein did the same thing. You're never going to see a candid picture of Epstein. Epstein knows where the camera is.
They made sure of that, actually. That was famously not allowed, actually. Yeah.
Nice. But you know what I mean? When he looked at a camera, the face he was making was one that he had probably worked on in front of a mirror for many hours. Tesla, he had a pose, and it looks so good. It looks so mysterious. You can imagine the aura and the smoke behind him or whatever. Yeah. When he looks at the camera, and when you look at a picture of Tesla, he looks like he's looking through you. It's a very predatory. It's the Russian thing. He's a silent predator kind of guy. I mean, he is we always talked about on the show. I said on the show, like, okay, you're a young guy, you want to impress girls, and you don't have like basic alpha. I was like, so what's your move? I always said the best move you got that you can do that is alpha, that you don't need basic alpha do, is brooding. Women for somehow, like they say, women interpret being funny. They can't tell the difference between that and being smart, right? So if you want a woman to think you're smart, you can just tell jokes and they will interpret that as funny.
That's how I got married. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Brooding, like like if a woman thinks you got a little bit of that Dylan Klebold in you or whatever,
What? Okay.
they interpret that as being Conan the Barbarian. They had this was a big scandal on what was it, Live Journal or whatever, that website or whatever, that like 60% of the website was being turned into these like women's like sexual desired shrines to the Columbine killers or whatever.
Oh no.
And so Tesla, in all of this,
Tesla pictures are, I would say this is 10 out of 10 brooding. This is what you should be aspiring to if you're trying to brood in front of women.
Yeah, I mean, they had David Bowie play him in that Christopher Nolan movie. That was kind of cool. It was very random. Like, you just wouldn't expect that. But I'm going to lean Tesla. However, I thought the two of them are fast. Edison uniquely understood how to get shit done, and Tesla was a savant, I think. I mean, both guys were a savant, but like Edison understood where he goes, okay, if I want anything done, okay, I don't do steel. I'm not doing a lot of steel stuff. So Carnegie's not my, probably not going to go that way. JP Morgan's father, which I think is also JP Morgan, I can't remember, but his dad was kind of like, electricity, that's devil bullshit. I don't like it. Like, what are you doing? What are you putting all this money in there for? You're being swindled. Well, dad croaks. I basically become, 4x my wealth at this point, if not more. If I'm JP Morgan, I'm putting all that money to this guy, Edison, who can power, all of this stuff and do this. Now, JP Morgan also understood, because for anyone who doesn't know, Tesla was alternating current. Edison was delta current, AC/DC, obviously, the band name and stuff. But he gets JP Morgan after a while, like, starts General Electric, not starts General Electric. He takes Edison's name off of Edison Electric, which people in Southern California might look at their bill every month and say, oh yeah, I paid to Edison Electric, but General Electric was Edison Electric at the time. And then JP Morgan's like, fuck Thomas Edison. So that's the only reason to me where I'm kind of like, yeah, but it was like, I don't know how much of the like crazy savvy it was beyond the machines and the mechanisms that was Edison, because Morgan was just like, look, I'll literally, I mean, JP Morgan was an absolute dog. He would just shut down the competition, poison the well on his competition, catch him up in scandals, like anything. I mean, he wanted to win. He was an absolute dog. And Edison made things that were grounded in reality, right? Like the telegraph, all of these other things. Tesla did some wild stuff, man. I mean, you want to talk about
theoretical versus practical, really.
Exactly. And Tesla comes from a different background. He's from, and you guys might know this history better than me, he's from what is now Serbia, but back in the day, he's from Austro-Hungarian soldiers who then went into the church. He was not a church going, or he was like, I'm not doing that. He stroked a cat one day, like just pet a cat and got a shock or something, was like, well, that's it for me. I'm doing electricity for the rest of my life. Kind of an idiot savant, never did well in school. Dad wanted him in the church, but he was like, I'll die. I'm going to get sick if I don't go here. He was kind of I would guess he would have been diagnosed with what we call now autism at the time. But back then it was like, oh, my son's kind of weird, and let's just, we'll put him through these schools and stuff. So he gets with that guy George Westinghouse, I think is the guy's name, the Westinghouse motor and stuff, finds a way to power these things, gets and then his alternating current, he works for Edison for a long time, but Edison never likes alternating current. Now, does he not like it, or does he not want to implement it because somebody else invented it? Doesn't really matter. Tesla breaks away. Edison goes, you'll never work anywhere if you leave me. Like, I'm sorry, you're a smart guy, but like, it's over. I will make sure. And also I have JP Morgan to make sure that you don't work. Tesla kind of toiled a little bit. He got these really big ideas, but I'll be honest, man, some of his wireless tech stuff, I mean, like the microwave radiation stuff, which again, I'm not a big microwave guy, but when you're talking about radar detection and things like that, that's a pretty insane invention when you think about it. When you're just like, wow, at the time, yes, lights in your house is crazy, but like I can detect something like from far away and just in an era where like God knows how you transmitted any information. I mean, it was the telegraph, right? It was these things. And I think what's interesting about Tesla, which puts him over the top, and you guys might disagree with me, is the weird paranormal and honestly parapolitical. He claims to have talked to aliens. If I
didn't know that.
Oh, this is crazy. So he claims that when he was doing like microwave radio technology, he transmitted some message and received some wisdom, he thinks, to then create this wireless tech. Now, at the time, he's broke because he was a bad businessman, which I think is his beta quality. He would, when he was running out of money, people would say, hey, what George Westinghouse would come to him, and I hope I'm getting his name right. I think that's his name. He would come to him and say, hey, I would need this money. And George is like, dude, your royalties are way too high. People do not want to invest anymore because your royalties are too high. He goes, all right, fuck the royalties. So he left what they say was about 300 million on the table, I think, in modern currency, by doing that, just so he could keep. He was a craftsman at that point. Again, this could be all construed as beta, and I'd believe it. Now, he wanted to do this whole, he's like, fuck the wires. He had the Tesla coil, which we still use to this day, by the way. Like that shit is crazy. The Tesla coils and stuff. And that was the missing link to a lot of the stuff that was found after he died. But he really wanted to make wireless tech at the time. And he didn't like the wires. I don't want all this stuff. And he ostensibly was getting close to it. But guess what he wanted to do with all of it? Hey, and it'll be free. So then you're talking about Rockefeller, Carnegie, Morgan going, nah, the wires are fine. So, whether it would have worked or not, they're going like, sorry, we're going to chart. We got this Edison thing going. People are pretty happy with that. Yes, your cool Chicago State Fair picture is very cool, but we'll do the thing where we can charge money for it. That seems to be going well. And lastly, what I'll say about Tesla is the death ray. Are you guys familiar with the Tesla death ray? I believe in it. I believe in it. So he had documents or whatever. I hate that word, but he had all these things to say, I'm going to make a death ray. It was something that could zap planes out of the sky. And we're in the 30s right now. Originally, Adolf Hitler heard about it and was like, hey, Austro-Hungarian Empire, what's up, dude? Like, fucking, what are you doing with that thing? And he's just like, no, not you. In fact, I'm making this because you're getting powerful or something. So goes to America and runs into the same kind of thing. And they're basically like, actually hand over that shit. You should not have that. Like, if you have that, just give that to us. And he's like, whatever. The Soviets want it. And all of a sudden you have this thing called the Tunguska event. And I encourage everybody to look it up. Now, again, this is all speculative or anything. This is all speculative. However, there in Tunguska, Siberia, all of a sudden one day there was a massive blast and all the forests come over, but there was no reported, like, the people said it was a meteor hit. There's no crater. Everything just bowls over in the forest. And there's a lot of people that think Tesla fired, or not Tesla himself, but somebody completed Tesla's work and was like, aim it towards the South Pole. And he's like, oh, fuck, we were a little bit off. Bam, blasted out like a whole forest. So long story short, I think he was on the right move. And I do think him randomly getting hit by a taxi when he was in the midst of all of this, I tend to think there's, at least like a 30% chance that he got taken out or something. I find that stuff a lot more interesting than Edison, though. Edison was like, I need this done. Edison goes, I will do this. If you need something done from Tesla, he's like, hey, not only did I do that, but I did this. Here's the thing. It costs like $900 million more, but I'll get it done. And everyone's like, come on, so in filmmaker perspective, right? Thomas Edison is Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood made movies for a long time. He went on his own, but to get funding, he was on time and under budget, no matter whatever he was making, on time, under budget. So the movie had more shot to make money and be good, even if it wasn't. And I'm a person that loves a lot of the movies that he made, even if it wasn't something that was like The Godfather or something. Now you talk about guys like Coppola, which I think Tesla was, where Coppola's selling his house, selling his vineyards, doing all this stuff to make Apocalypse Now, going out and like in the middle of a typhoon in the Philippines and losing everything. Like he's that type of guy. And I just think that like kind of like weird death drive towards your craft is kind of sick. I mean, the beta part about him too is he was celibate though. I won't say that much. Being a celibate, doing all that, like powering the modern world and not getting any pussy is kind of rough.
He had a pigeon GF, right?
Oh,
right. The pigeon story, like he kept pigeons late in life.
He did. It was Mike Tyson. Yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly he said like he deeply loved his pigeons or something. It was just there's so much Tesla lore because he became this character on Reddit that it's hard to figure out what is what. Although I have to say I've heard of the death ray, but I didn't know that people linked it to the Tunguska event. Which all right. Now we talked about this before when I was on here. The key to a conspiracy theory is it has to be entertaining. It has to be more entertaining than the truth.
That's cool.
And that's more fun than it was a comet that blew up or something. Like, I'm on board with that. He gets the seal of approval.
To make a death ray. And he was doing the Oppenheimer thing, right? He's like, actually, I'm a anti-war guy, but this thing existing would make war not happen. Which, yeah, right. And honestly, for a while, who was the before Churchill? What was the guy's name?
Neville Chamberlain.
Neville Chamberlain originally wanted it, which I'm glad he didn't get it because if that was still around nowadays, you misgendered somebody, you get death rayed, dude. That's what death ray. Like in England, you be toast. Like they just death ray you, like Mars attacks. Like I don't know. I find him fascinating. I just don't think Edison's that interesting. I guess. I mean, I say that. Now thinking like, yeah, he was interesting. He was trying to make motion pictures and shit. Like, and he was ahead on that stuff too. So they're both great.
This connection you've made in my mind now. I don't know how much of a gamer you were in the past, but like in Red Alert, one of the Soviet units is the Tesla coil that you can build. It'll zap the evil forces of capitalism for you. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. All right.
Yeah, that's no man, that's awesome. So okay.
For the Peter thing, it made me think of the whole savant thing versus like the Chad McJock Edison thing. It's not like the traditional one. Edison's like Todd Howard. You know who Todd Howard is?
No.
It's this. There's this role that happens. Is like if you're an engineer, if you're an automotive engineer, whoever is the most like Chad McGurk engineer, he's gonna be made the boss, and his job is just going to be like whipping. And if I understand, Edison wasn't the brains behind a lot of these inventions, but he was the guy that was good at sort of whipping, like whipping other engineers into producing product. I mean, that's the thing. But anyways, with the whole savant thing, we were talking some of this with Fredo, who's a big Pete guy, and we were talking about like why do men win at these certain things? Why do women win at certain things? And apparently, testosterone is like nature's Adderall. He said that like testosterone is increases focus. This is why there's all these sort of people. There's obviously a connection with people call like Asperger's and stuff with just masculinity in general, but testosterone. So being this uber super focused person or whatever, that is a high test thing.
Yeah. No, it's just like it's interesting. I thought it was interesting. I was just watching that thing the other day, and I was like, I got to bring this up because I think it's fascinating because like at the end of the day, like if you needed to build a nation, I don't know that I would hire Tesla, but if I wanted to make the Uber nation, like if he did, like I will say, if he did team up with Hitler, Hitler would have sent his ass to Antarctica. After the war, they would have said
found
like,
Agartha. Yes.
Yeah, he'd have been like H.P. Lovecraft. at the Mountains of Madness time, like find what's in there, you know, like he would have been doing shit like that with him if he did team up with him. So very like Indiana Jonesy kind of shit. But the last one today, and this is size one, and it kind of couples what we were talking about at the beginning with some of the Epstein stuff, but Dan Bongino, who when I look up a picture, he looks like the Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, like almost uncanny. Like it's kind of insane. If you look at a picture of two of them, they look like maybe they could be cousins or something. But he this is how out of the loop I am on a lot of politics. So I didn't even know he had a job in the administration. But apparently he's flirted with just not showing up to work over the Epstein stuff.
He's number 2 at FBI. Yeah, deputy director.
Which is insane. I was just like, oh, I guess so. Yeah, I just so he's underneath Cash Patel, I guess, and with the Epstein thing. And look, we've talked about it a little bit. I understand people being mad about it because I ultimately think it was an unforced error to even make that a part of your platform in any way. It should have been a poison pill. If anybody asked you what you're going to do about the Epstein thing, you say we got to mess at the border. That's what Trump used to do. Was we have a mess at the border. That's what we need to do. They're doing this and this and this and this, and we want to stop that. We're going to stop this right now. Now, I think Dan Bongino bought the message. Clearly somebody believed that the Epstein thing was going to happen, right? Because Dan Bongino did. But do you guys think he's alpha or beta? I guess for that event, but also overall. I don't know much about his political correspondent history.
We just put out a episode about
I
almost
just got the alert. I literally just got the alert for it. I was like, yeah.
Almost entirely about Epstein. So if you're listening to this, please tune into that. You can get a very, very nuanced take on that.
Sure.
The brief take for me is if they really thought that there were files for them to show people, then they're stupid. Because obviously, if Epstein was just what the government says he was, just a bad guy and not connected to blackmailers or whatever, there would be no files that wouldn't exist in the first place. But if he was what people alluded to, that stuff's been gone for 6 years, because that would be the first thing that you got rid of, because it's very easy to lose files. It's a lot harder to do that than to kill a guy in protective custody when everybody on the planet is watching him. And I'll be honest with you, I've never listened to his podcast. All I know about him right now is that he's not looking so great. He's kind of getting bullied by Pam Bondi. And to me, that seems kind of beta. But, hey, I don't know. I think he was in the military. Or he's the Secret Service, right? Obviously, not a pushover, but, politically, also not alpha.
Yeah, I mean, to get that job, because Cy would say alpha, because Cy is, like I've said, ultra principled, and he's like, yeah, if that's what you believe in, run off into the woods. You know what I mean? If it's not happening. Now, Bog, I would imagine you would disagree with that.
Unfortunately, I don't really know anything about Bongino, but I can still take a crack at it. So,
yeah, that's a real content creator right there, baby.
That's alpha.
Let's go.
Yeah,
that's alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as walking out on the job, whether it's principled or not, I could tell you that, first off, most people that have these cabinet jobs don't, it's not supposed to even be a full-term thing. You're usually there 1 or 2 years. Regardless, he's going to be spending most of his life on a radio show. Even if everything goes successful with Trump, he's not going to be working in DC for life. So it is a better move if you're a snake no principled guy to say, yeah, I was there and I pushed my chips in and they kicked me out and stuff like that, because you're going to be back on the radio soon, like regardless of however things go well. But I just want to say real quick, it's an oxymoron. Like, okay, let's say that the Epstein files were a repository of compromise on the most powerful people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an oxymoron to be like, okay, I'm the president and I'm gonna release that. I'm gonna fuck over.
Exactly.
Like if you would do that, you're saying those people like are not powerful. Like, what makes a person powerful? What makes a person influential?
Yeah.
that people like the presidents rely on them. So like the idea that you would fuck over at like every influential powerful person in the world, well, that it's like it doesn't make sense. I don't get it.
Yeah, I guess to say, because I ultimately agree with you. Like, I definitely went down that rabbit hole like I said, a long time ago. It's like kind of weird when it pops back up. It kind of, I think Netflix did a documentary on a very like kind of just normie, oh man, look at this guy kind of documentary about it. Then the Maxwell trial happens, she goes down. But I kind of, I get where people are coming from though, because like I said, to me that's why you don't mention it ever, because again, it's a zero sum game. You will never, like, if it's as bad as if it's as big and if it's this massive tentacled beast that the maximalists think that it is, and I to be fair, I think there's some reason to believe that. There's some good research done by people that like Whitney Webb and stuff that at least have shown that there's something there. But to me, I wouldn't have even trusted a client list I got from Kash Patel. That's the thing. Like, if you told me the thing, I'd be like, that's probably not even a real list. Like, because of the implications of it. Like, of like, these people are running this blackmail campaign, and it's all these multinational corporations. It's the head of all of these things, and it's one of these things to basically say like, we picked the president. You're an Israel blackmail agent and stuff. Now, Kash Patel, if you guys look up Kash Patel's girlfriend, is an Israeli intelligence operative. And he got the one that like you see on Twitter and stuff. You know what I'm talking about. The IDF ones. He got one of those. So I found that out today, and I was like, whoa, okay, I see why none of this shit happened, honestly. Like, let's be real. So I definitely think there's some connections there, but it didn't factor into any of my electoral process, because I was just like, dude, that shit is not like, that is not going to be changed in an administration. But then you started seeing the pictures of the binders and all of these things. And if I'm Dan Bongino, I'm like, well, I guess this is what we're doing. All right, the binders. Yeah, let's do it. Then if there's some sort of rug pull, whoever put the sh on that, whether it's Trump, whether it's Bondi, whether it's the invisible hand, I get why Dan Bongino's like, wait, so do I get to do shit here? Do I get to do anything? Because I'm looking at his history right here. You look at Bongino's ascendance right here. So like just in the media sphere, he started the Bongino report in December 2019 as an alternative to the Drudge report, because he said Drudge was basically a libtard. He's like, I'm to the right of that Drudge. I'm supporting Donald Trump. This is going to do that. So he got banned off of everything in 2020, like a lot of people. He had to go to Rumble and stuff and whatever. In 2021, he ends up replacing the Rush Limbaugh show. I think that's when Rush died.
Damn.
So he's a big deal. Like, he's not like, this isn't just some guy. Like, you know what I mean? On the like media thing, like it was Cumulus Media. That's a massive company that just said, you're the next Rush Limbaugh. You know what I mean? And so I thought it was, and he was based during COVID. I thought his COVID stuff was really good. That was the only time. That was when I had first heard of him. To be quite honest, got a big contract with Westwood One. That's about as big as it goes in radio. And then he kind of left all that to do this. And I kind of think he was like, I should have just stayed doing media. I could have done my Epstein stuff. I could have done my, this and that. Like, and I don't know. I have a tough time deciding, because at the end of the day, you take a job with the FBI, right? And the FBI is interesting because, our intelligence, right now, I see a lot of like people that are trusting the plan. I don't know, man. The plan in terms of intelligence a couple of years ago was, how do we coup the president?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about like just a few months of Trump working that over in his favor. And I don't know if Dan Bongino looked and went like, holy shit, I am not a guy. I am not Charles Bronson in Death Wish whipping around the bag of nickels like, yeah, let's go get him. It's actually quite not that job. So I'm like right in the middle, man. Cause like at the end of the day, is it alpha to walk out of like the greatest job in the world?
Well, he didn't though. He didn't actually walk out.
Yeah, he hasn't done it yet. Yeah, you're right.
He said, I might walk out, which if he does quit, then disregard everything I'm about to say. But the idea of saying, well, leaking that I'm thinking about quitting is a way to tell his supporters, hey, look, I'm still that guy. I'm very angry about this, but I'm not actually going to quit my incredibly prestigious job with the FBI. And this stuff for normies like normies, like normal human beings who don't think about politics constantly. They're always looking for one weird trick to solve the problem of politics forever, that's completely understandable. But this is what this Epstein file MacGuffin is. If there is if there's a file and it was the dossier that everybody thinks, they could release it and nothing would change, because that's not the structural reality of how the empire works. Doesn't change. So I think that it's crazy for people to put so much focus into this. However, that's what people are going to do. It doesn't. I don't think it's necessarily
they
harmful.
Got attention to it. Like that's what I mean.
Yeah.
They did bring attention to it. Like they signal boosted it in a way. It's like you could have just let that thing be a fringe thing, but then it became like something that you would like on Fox News. I saw like a long discussion about Jeffrey Epstein. I was like, damn. Like, so with this whole like don't make it shouldn't have been any part of the campaign if you wanted it to just be like I don't know. That's the weird part. I get the people who feel rug pulled. Ultimately, like again, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with your vote?
They were rug pulled.
They were rug pulled.
Yeah. What are you gonna do with your vote though? What are you gonna do with your vote? Vote with the person. Gavin Newsom, like I just said, Gavin Newsom on Sean Ryan couldn't commit to not castrating 9-year-old kids. He couldn't commit to it, and he has a 9-year-old daughter, and he goes, "Yeah, that's crazy to me." Anyways, I will never support anything that belittles trans people. And it's like, so it's like at the end of the day, like you will have to weigh out like a binary, but also can still feel like rug pulled in that way. And that's probably what Dan Bongino thinks right now. I got rug pulled, but what else am I going to do?
They promised something that they couldn't deliver, and they're going to be punished for that reputation wise. Bondi might lose her job.
I think Patel's out, and guess where Patel could go? Guess who's starting a third party that loves Indian people?
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
No, I just mean I know I'm not good luck with it, but that is literally a job waiting for him. I bet is that like the H1 fucking B program job, like that is 1,000% where he's gonna go the minute because people forget like Trump will fire a lot of these people, and I'm not saying it's because of incoherence. It's just I think he's just gonna fire a few people. So like
he loves doing that. That's his thing,
right? So it's gonna happen. So I always when I see people that are so sure of this, so sure of that, I'm like, he might fire these guys. So just there's no reason to get that locked in on it. But
in Machiavelli's The Prince, he says the first thing you should do when you take power is hire somebody to be one of your top guys, your top visible guys. That's the biggest piece of shit that you can possibly find. Find the most worthless sack of shit that everyone hates in the entire world and give him a top job.
Stalin did this repeatedly with his head of intelligence guys like Beria. I forget the guy before Beria that Beria killed. Like that was his thing. He'd always had this monster in the background that everybody hated, and every like 10 years he'd just kill him and get a new one. Yeah.
This is what he said. In Machiavelli says, one day you'll be. These were kings, but you'll be in the medieval version of being behind in the polls. People won't be happy with you. They're going to be looking for looking to cut your head off. And at that moment, fire that guy, admonish him publicly, call him a shitbird. The people will love you. And it's an own goal in reverse. You know what I mean? It's this is like one of his it's like a stupid trick, but he's like this is a primary political lesson.
I want to as we close up here, and I thank you guys for your time. I want to say the last thing I want to talk about now. I just know, Bog, you've spent some time in Miami in your life, so I think you might appreciate this story. Maybe you knew this. I don't know. I am a sports historian. It's no job for it, of course, but I do it for the love of the game. I'm like the Tesla of sports historians. I love the AFL and NFL merger time because I thought that was like the Wild West of a sport that now dominates all of sports, in my opinion. So for anybody who doesn't know, there were football was nothing. If you watch old football from the 60s, you will turn it off immediately. It sucks. It's not fun. It's just completely not what you think. Now there used to be a rule in football, like for a long time, I think up until like the late 60s, where you could not block if you were on the offensive line. You couldn't use your hands. So you just blocked like a flat Mario thing with your like, just like it made the game stupid. right? So it was just dumb. So now during this time, and this is a job that still is done today, but you have a rules committee and a competition fair play committee in the NFL. For 20 years, there was a guy who had the job, and his name's not that important, but everybody around the world knew that, or if you were in the, I should say, everybody around the league knew that the real chairman of the rules committee, his name was Don Shula. Don Shula also coached the team. So you're in charge of the rules of the NFL, and he's made some great changes, like using your hands and, you know, ushering in the forward pass, all of these things. But he had a team go undefeated. It's the only team to ever do it. Go undefeated.
1972.
1972. Now, famously, for anybody who doesn't know, whenever a team is like 13-0, 14-0 nowadays, now these guys I think are dead now, so I don't know if they still do this. A lot of them are dead. But I think Mercury Morris might have been the last living member or living Hall of Famer, I should say, of that team. But they would pop bottles in the champagne. Nobody's beaten our record, and nobody has. The 2007 Patriots almost did it. But they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. They almost did it, but they didn't. But at the time, just thinking about, like, okay, you are the undefeated team in the league. Nobody can figure out why they can't beat you or anything, and you also run the fucking referee committee on there. It's kind of based when you think about it. And he had it until he was done. He was the most influential man in football, bar none, for 30 years. And like, you couple it with today, like if you were a team with the Kansas City Chiefs right now, they're like obviously the number one team, you know, for the last 6 or 7 years, you would say, if their coach Andy Reid was like, hey, I'm taking a new job in the NFL, but I'm still coaching, I'm gonna be in charge of the rules committee. Everybody would be like, what the fuck, dude? Don Shula was like, hey, do you guys want to grow the sport? Do you guys want to stop, make it to where Harvard and Yale aren't where all the football players come from? Well, guess what? I get to go undefeated and win Super Bowls, but I'll fix your damn sport. So I thought that was kind of a nice patronage model. I don't know what you think of that.
Well, growing up, my growing up in Florida, my favorite athlete was Dan Marino.
Quickest release ever. Amazing.
It was, you know, I didn't realize that, like, it was obvious after like Dan Marino was the last guy who played quarterback in the 70s model. Like when you were a Dolphins fan and you're watching this guy, he's throwing bombs over and over again. And like it's blatantly obvious why no one does that anymore. Because, by the way, when you were a fan at the time, this is Dan Marino. He was, in my opinion, he's the greatest quarterback that ever lived. However, when people wouldn't even agree at that time. They would say
he didn't win. I mean, unfortunately,
Not only Montana, Steve Young. By the way, it's like, okay, Montana's the greatest quarterback in the world because he wins championship. Okay, they replace him, and the next guy, he wins the championship.
Right.
Maybe it's a little bit more than Joe Montana, but anyways, he's throwing these bombs, and then realize, like, this is not a ideal way to play football. You should be throwing short passes,
right? Because
every time that he would chunk up these 75-yard bombs, you know, your heart would stop. You're like, please don't get an interception, please don't, because the turn, like, you know, every game has sort of things that are OP and that give a game its feel. And I think in American football, the turnover is like the most OP thing.
Yeah, turnover margin. I mean, if any successful team, you look at their turnover margin, it's usually in the plus and at a very high level. So
and also someone who throws like that. I know he had a fast release, but when you're dropping back to bomb it, there's giant linebackers and defensive ends coming after you. And back then, there were, like, roughing the passer technically existed as a penalty. It was a thing that could happen, but it was more theoretical than
they were getting killed.
Like Comanche Indian style execution in the fucking backfield. Like, you know, it's crazy. No, Marino was incredible because Marino, my dad's not a Dolphins fan. He's just a football fan. He had just a tape of in 1985, the Bears were the best team in football. It wasn't even close. Dan Marino tore them apart. He was the only guy to do it. He tore them apart because he had a quick release. His wide receivers were coked out of their mind, but they ran like 4.3 40s. So they'd get downfield quick enough to where nobody could hit him. And it was Mark Duper and Mark Clayton were their names. They were both fantastic players, but it was a lightning in a bottle, Miami Vice type thing happening. It was really cool, looking cool in the uniforms and everything. But I just thought that was interesting about Don Shula running the league. I mean, I mean, you could even say there was a Jim Clyburn element to Don Shula, although I would say Don Shula might have won more things. I mean, just for himself, he's got more trophies for himself. He wasn't helping other people win. He was winning this thing. And he's just the type of guy that, like, he has like 8 kids, or he has like 8 successors, either by marriage or by just like grandkids or stuff. They're all coaching in the league and stuff. We will have Shula's for all the rest of our lifetimes and beyond us. It's just unreal. So that's crazy.
I have Jim Clyburn trading cards, by the way.
Really?
They look
Are
just
they made
like
by Tops? Are they made by Tops or like Upper Deck or something?
I don't know where. I have to go look, but they look just like a sports card, and they're just pictures of Jim Clyburn in the back. It's all these boondoggles that he's done or whatever. I like, as far as the sports thing, I did want to say, it's like, the first technology of like the superior method. We see this a lot. It's like in basketball, you have like people didn't understand at the time, but like Robert Horry was playing like next generation basketball before it was ready. And I always think of the best version of this with football was that with quarterback was Jeff Garcia.
Yes.
You take a guy.
I've met him, and I took a football to his house and got it signed. He was a very nice guy. Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. Like, because Jeff Garcia was, he would just we're talking like in his mid-30s. Mm-hmm. He's not super athletic. He's clearly not like a super gifted athlete in any way that people recognized at all at that time. So you had this sort of like a really basic beta version of a guy that, okay, he just does this one thing really well. He can read an offense and get the ball out of his hands really fast. That's it. But he did all this other stuff. He's bad at this. He's bad at that. He can just get rid of the ball really fast and read the defense really fast and just quick get rid of the ball, 5-yard pass really quick. And you're seeing this guy, and he's still starting. He's 32. He's 33. He's 34. You're like, what is this guy doing still starting? And then later on you get guys that they realize that's the methods. Now you have super athletes, super talented guys that are doing the Jeff Garcia thing, and this creates the next level.
Yep. No, I mean, like a guy like Randall Cunningham right now, he's kicking himself that he wasn't around. like nowadays, these like freak guys. But guys, thank you once again for coming by. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. Make sure you guys go check out Good Old Boys on Patreon. Like I said, you guys just recently released it. Like, I'm gonna listen to it. But the nuanced Epstein episode. Which it's a fun way that's a good way to frame a Jeffrey Epstein episode, is as nuanced. But yeah, that's good. So anything big coming up, guys? Or you guys just
age of consent nuanced
principled libertarian discussion. Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys got anything big coming up? Any teasers? Last time you guys were ready to drop the Abraham Lincoln episode, so I know that was an absolute bomb of an episode to drop on the public there. So is there anything big in the pipeline for Good Old Boys?
Oh, that's we got just like 5 hours of just laying into one of the like heroes of American history. That was.
We don't even use pennies anymore, so
yeah. Finally, the injustice is corrected. We got an X-Files episode in the hopper.
Nice.
That'll be out soonish, and and most importantly, we're going to be featured on Rare Candy, the hit podcast.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, how could that slip my mind? Yeah. Absolutely. It's always fun. We'll catch up again sometimes. On that note, guys, everybody have a safe week, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Southern Texas heat is burning up my feet. Carolina snow is falling oh so slow. One last cigarette, then it's time for bed. I don't rightly know where it is I'm bound to
I tell you something, all that you earn you don't really own. Something's in the water, it drives these people mad. Something's in your daughter, yeah, makes me want her real bad. Yeah. Southern blood runs deep, follows me back east, all the way down home to a girl I call my own. She sits with me for a while, southern drawl and a beautiful smile, pretty as can be. Think I saw you in my dreams. Baby, there ain't nothing like a man without home. Or I tell you something, all that you earn you don't really own. Something's in the water, drives these people mad. Something's in your daughter,